Assalamu alaikum. It's first week of October now, and a lot of my summer plans are coming to an end. I've been busy in my garden, taking all of my summer plants out where I can and planting winter crops. I've still got bottle gourds and chili plants in the beds right behind me, and a lot of the plants are still bearing fruit that I will be harvesting soon. But in this video, I will just give you a tour or to show you how the plants are doing in the first week of October in 2023 here in UK in Leaf Garden. There's quite a lot of bottle gourds are still in the plants. My plants are still going considering the weather that we had this year in UK. I have been successful in harvesting quite a lot of bottle gourds, mashallah. Still got few of the bottle gourds that I'll be harvesting, and as you can see, a lot of the leaves are now dying off. Chinese bottle gourds plants have done really well as well. I've got one Chinese bottle gourds here, there's one in here as well, this one here for seed. Very happy with how the Chinese bottle gourds plants have done, and there's a Bangladeshi bottle gourds in here and quite a few in this side as well. So these are all ready to be harvested now. I'm gonna use this bottle gourds for the seed. Yeah, it was one of the earliest bottle gourds that the plant produced. The tomatoes are still going, the tomato plants. There's a lot of tomatoes are still in those plants, and very blessed with the way the tomato plants performed this year. No sign of blights, and yeah, we are just harvesting the tomatoes every week, literally every day. The super hot chili plants in this bed did not do very well, as you can see, but still there's quite a lot of chilies are in those plants. The plants took quite a long time to flower, and the fruits doesn't seem to be getting very large. Here's an example of how the swat chilies are looking, like very tiny compared to the one in pots. So this variety here is Butla Gold, but it's coming up as yellow. I'm going to be taking those plants out of this raised bed and putting in some winter crops like spinach or mustard and so on. I've already interplanted some lettuces in here, so here they are, and we've harvested a few times these lettuce leaves in here. So that's the plan. And also back in I think July, August, I direct sowed some carrots in here, so these are doing really well. I'm really happy with the Bangladeshi uri plants. We've already done a couple of harvests. The plants is again produced quite a lot of uris. We'll be harvesting. We'll be doing the final harvest soon. Yeah, definitely we'll be keeping the seeds uh, for these Bangladeshi beans. Let's show you the raised beds. So in this raised bed, I grew zucchinis and courgettes. There were 6 plants in here. They just constantly produce zucchinis throughout the summer, and also during September, October. Recently, I've noticed that they were suffering from powdery mildew, so I've decided to take all the plants out and now transplanted some giant mustard plants in here. So hopefully they'll be able to grow larger before the frost comes in. And I already had some beetroot planted in here, and these are, I think the variety is Golden Bapi, and yeah, these beetroots are doing really well. We haven't done any harvest yet, but yeah. And alongside the beetroot, I planted the New Zealand spinach in here a while back, and these have these are now looking a little bit better than the previous months, but I think it's too late. I'll be taking this out soon, and these have gone to seed, so they're not going to be any use to us. And on this side, I have ungbok. So these are like Chinese cabbage, and they are really good. I really like them because they taste like the mustard leaves, and yeah, I think they're really fast growing as well, and they produces very large leaves. I also have some rockets in here, so this should grow very nicely. I've got more Ungbox in here. They have suffered a little bit from flea beetles and I think slug, but they're gonna be just fine. In this bed I had a few different varieties of Swaho chili plants which they didn't do really well, but the regular chili plants did okay, actually did better. And you can see this one here still has quite a lot of pods remaining, so I just kept this plant and I've taken the remaining of the plants out because they didn't have they were flowering, but I think it's too late for those flowers to set fruit. And once I had the space, I basically reconditioned the soil using some fish blood and bone and put some compost on top of it, and then planted some different varieties of spinach in here. So these are spinach. I think this variety is Matador, and I've heard that this variety does really well during the winter months. These seedlings here, these are lamb lettuce, and yeah, these were also sown at the same time as the true spinach and transplanted yesterday. And on this side, I've transplanted some red pak choi. I've seen that pak choi is a magnet for slugs and all those pests, and they always suffer. So the last time I grew some pak choi during the springtime, they didn't do really well. They just bolted straight away. So hopefully this time I should be able to get some harvest out of this. And of course, in between the pak choi, I have the onions in here that I'm going to overwinter, and hopefully should be able to get some harvest of onions next year. I also have some beetroot different variety in here that I have some spares, and yeah, I decided to put them in here. And again, yesterday I put some Bangladeshi mustard leaf plants in here as well, so hopefully this will do well in this bed. Right, so moving on to the next bed in here. So this bed in here is actually where I am growing the collettes and also Brussels sprouts. So the collettes and Brussels sprouts in these beds have done really well. I've got several plants and I haven't actually harvested any collettes yet. I can see that the plants are starting to produce some collettes, and hopefully I should be able to get some harvest. And the plan is to harvest collettes for salads and harvest them throughout the month or winter months and also early spring. So hopefully I should be able to get a good harvest in here because the health of the plants are looking really, really good. The Brussels sprouts, I have Brussels sprouts that I can start to harvest. These Brussels sprouts can be harvested, they're ready. We still have time, so Brussels sprouts and collettes are winter hardy, so I don't have to worry about them being killed off by the frost. In here I grew my taro plants, so hosu, and these taro plants, we've done one harvest, and I think we can do another harvest before I decide to overwinter these plants. So now there are different way of overwintering taro plants. Taro plants are a little bit sensitive to frost, so I'm thinking whether to leave them in ground, because if I leave them in ground, they may come back or may not come back. It's not a guarantee that they will come back next year. Whereas if I dig out the taro roots and dry them and store them in a frost-free environment, I should be able to replant them next year, and that way I should be able to get some harvest again next year. In this metal raised bed, I had some chilies, some tomatoes, dwarf tomato variety that I grew. There's still one dwarf tomato plants remaining, still bearing some fruits. I've taken out the remaining of the tomato plants. Still kept the two normal chili plants in here. Transplanted some daikon radish in here. So hopefully throughout the winter and early spring next year, I should be able to harvest some daikon. Malabar spinach in this trellis have done really well. And again, as you can see, as the temperature starts to drop, the Malabar spinach plants are now dying off. From the all four corner, I have the winter courgette plant trailing away. I have four winter courgette plants that I transplanted a few months back in this raised bed, and these courgette plants have done really well. I have been able to harvest quite a lot of courgettes from these plants. I still got couple of courgettes right here. These are ready to be harvested now. These plants are really good, and these plants I've started from my own collector seed from last year's. And yeah, these produces very large long courgettes that can be used as as your regular zucchini and courgette, or if you store them, and they store very well, and they kind of like this outer skin kind of like goes brown, and they taste like the butternut squash. So yeah, either way, these are really good. I've taken some strawberry seedlings out of the plants that I have in this raised bed. So if you grow strawberry, you know that these plants produces runners, and these runners you can basically put them in a pot and snip them off to get new plants. So in this raised bed in here, I started off growing some lettuce and also mustard in this bed, and then once I've harvested the mustard and lettuces, I then transplanted some kohlrabi in here. So these plants you can see in here, these are kohlrabis, and I can see these are bulbing up nicely. I should be able to get a harvest soon, and the plan is to keep these plants going and harvest leaves. The mint, yeah, is just overtaking this bed, and my runner beans have done really well. And again, I can do one more harvest from these plants and before I take these off. Here I was growing regular chili varieties. The plants, I've taken off all the plants now, and I did interplant some spring onions in this bed, which I have done a quite a large harvest of, and I left the roots of the spring onion, so they are again coming up. So it just saves me from having to start those spring onion from seed again. And yeah, I should be able to just keep them going throughout the winter, and I should be able to get more harvest from this. In the empty spaces in between the spring onion white leaves one, I've now transplanted some rockets, so more Chinese cabbages. So these row and that row in here, both of them are Chinese cabbage, and the one that I mentioned earlier that tastes like laifata, the mustard leaves. So yeah, I really like these leaves, so I should be able to get harvest throughout the winter months from these. Got a few beetroots in here as well, and this plant in here, I thought this is a um, Korean spinach plant, but I later found out that this is actually Korean mint, and these leaves smells really nice, and you can use them as mint, like the regular mint. So I just kept these two plants still in this bed. I want to see how cold hardy they are. This bed in here, I had cucumbers, and I had a trellis system set up in here, which I've now dismantled. I've now taken that trellis system off to so that the plants in here can get more light. And these trellis that I had set up in this raised bed were being used by the Chinese pothole and also the cucumber plants, and both of them have now been discarded. Once the space were available, I transplanted some lettuces in here, and also some winter cabbage, and these charred leaves. I transplanted them about 1.5 months back in this raised bed, and we've harvested a few times. And yeah, I just love these leaves. They when you cook them, they are taste exactly like the your regular spinach. In here, I was growing red cabbages and also onion, and in this side I have some flower plants. So I've now taken all the flower plants out of this bed, and also harvested the red cabbage and onions, and replaced the bed with garlic. So these garlic, I've transplanted them probably about a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, they've already shoot up. Then I direct sown some Bangladeshi mustard leaves in between, and they have now got started. I need to thin them because there's just too many plants, which will mean that they will not get very big. I've also transplanted some Chinese radishes in here. So these are winter radishes. So hopefully this will give me a quite good harvest early in the spring next year. And also more pak choy, red variety in here. And again, you can see the damage that these are suffering from insects. Hopefully they will be able to recover. I had these garlic chive plants in between the flower plants, and they were just like blocked, covered by the flower plants. And now that I've taken the flower plants away from this bed. These plants are now taking off because they are now getting some lights. In this raised bed, I again grew lettuce and then later on transplanted some chili plants for summer months. And in this side, I grew a lot of dwarf runner beans. These are now taken off, and again, I've transplanted with a different variety of true spinach in here, and also some more chard seedlings in here and red mustard seedlings in here. So hopefully, as the time goes and winter approaches, these plants will get a little bit bigger and hopefully able to get some harvest throughout. I did direct sow some carrots in here as well, so as you can see, they are growing nicely. The chili plants, these two chili plants, I'm still keeping them in this raised bed because again, I wanted this has a lot of pods and hopefully they will mature a little bit better with time. So there you go. That's a quick update of all of my raised beds and vegetable garden. And now let's take you to my greenhouse and just give you a sneak peek of how the greenhouse is looking. Here in the greenhouse, you can see still all of my chili plants and my summer plants like bottle gourds and snake gourds are still going. But I think it's about time that I take those plants out of the greenhouse and just give the greenhouse a little bit clean, because as the winter months approaches, I think these plants will be dying off very soon, and I rather take those plants and harvest all of the vegetables now before the fungal diseases sets in. And again, I'll be harvesting all of my chili plants as chilies as well of the plants. I've already started some flower seedlings and vegetable seedlings in these modular cells, as you can see. And yeah, hopefully this will become a much stronger plants for next year. That was a quick update of how are my vegetable garden looking in the first week of October. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button and do subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.